Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. As some of you will know, I've recently started painting up some trolls, which are now known as Troggots in Games Workshop terms, to create an army for Age of Sigmar. And this was one of the finished results, but I thought it might be useful for people who want to paint similar figures in a similar way. Just to show how I got to the end result here. Now I did take pointers and tips from Duncan on Warhammer TV. He was he painted, I think it was a Blood Bowl troll using the same technique. I just hadn't got the paints that he got, so mine turned out slightly different. So what I'll do is I've got 6 trolls, I think it is, painted in different stages, and we'll just go through them so you can see what I did. So the first one will be the very basic and the absolute start, which is spraying the figure Chaos Black from a rattle can. So here he is, and there's not much to discuss about that really. You just obviously make sure that he's reasonably covered with the Chaos Black, and that this will act as an undercoat for the paint to be added. But also, if you do miss any bits, you know, under the arms or things like that, then it'll be a good almost shadow effect. Now, one of the mistakes I made with the 3 that I've done is that I put the heads on, and it was awkward to get behind the heads onto the upper shoulders and lower chest to get the technique sorted. So on these 6 I've left the heads off. Now some of you may decide to leave the arms off at this stage and paint the arms separately. I prefer to have them on because the paint tends to blend across the whole miniature. Then it may look a bit odd with a bit of a stop and start. So that's just your basic figure put together and sprayed Chaos Black. So here's the next figure with the first lot of paint on it, and for that I used Castellan green. Now, as I say, Duncan used different colours to what I did, but these are the ones I had in my paint drawer, so it meant that I didn't have to go out and buy specific paints for the trolls. And all you really need is a dark green for the scales on these guys. We're going to move on to doing the flesh colours now. So all over green on all over the body. I haven't touched the weapons or anything like that with this colour. They will be treated separately. So that's your first colour. So the next colour, and this is just on the flesh parts, not on the scales, we're leaving those dark green, is Nurgling green. And as I say, you just paint this all over the flesh parts. You don't have to be too neat. I certainly wasn't on the first 3. But try and keep it to the flesh areas, as I say. I haven't done a particularly good job on this. As Duncan suggests from Games Workshop, you just put 2 thin coats on, and I think I need to go over just with another thin coat to get this model completely covered. So that's the first skin tone sorted. So to highlight the skin tone, we use Ushabti bone, and this is a dry brush. Okay. The other one was more of the Nurgling green was more painted on in the flesh areas. This is a dry brush and a highlight of that Nurgling green, yeah. And so you just highlight the knuckles and the belly and, you know, the calf muscles and things like that, and around the back, just to give it that brighter look in the raised areas, yeah. So that's that. Then we move on to the magic part. Okay, so this is this is the wash we had, and I'm trying to get some light on the figure so you can see it. So this wash goes over all the model, yeah. Now usually you have to be careful about this pooling in various parts of the model where you don't want to see. Basically, it is a pool of the wash holding in an area. You just want to try and get it in the recesses, but I don't mind pooling too much on these figures because you know these things are supposed to come out of a swamp or something like that, and so they're going to be a bit dirty and mucky and things. So I think you know in some locations and circumstances it actually works to have a bit of pooling on the figure. So you brush this all over and then let that dry. And once the wash has completely dried, then you go back in and dry brush Nurgling Green. Now Duncan, I think, dry brushed with the Shapty Bone again. So it's up to you guys how much of a highlight and distinction you want between the washed colour and how much you want to highlight back up to get the light effect, yeah. So that was basically it on trying to do these figures. There's no mysticism to it at all, really. You know, you can't really do this wrong. If you do, then you just go back over with one of the colours that you know needs to be reapplied. Perhaps you've got some of the lighter green over the scales or something, and you need to just reapply that. That's fine. Do the dark green again, and and then add your wash, and you should be okay. If we just go back to the end result, we'll see just the one or two other things that you do to the figure just to make it, well, to finish it off. So here he is. Eyes are painted in. Obviously he's got his head on. Eyes are painted in. I gave him a purple Mohican because I want to distinguish each of the three trolls from the others. So three trolls will have a purple Mohican like him, and then three trolls, I don't know, will have a blue Mohican or something, or a red or an orange, something like that. So the rest of the figure, I've used a Shapty Bone for the teeth and the claws, and then I put a wash of Rycliffe Flesh Shade over those, waiting for it to dry, and then just a dry brush or a highlight of a Shapty Bone again, just on the points and the edges, yeah. The axe that he's carrying, or the club that he's carrying, the initial wood was painted Rhinox hide, which is the very deep dark brown, and then again just a highlight dry brush over the raised areas with scrag brown to give it a bit of depth to the wood. The stone section, the stone head, which looks like a beak or something, that was first of all painted in Dawnstone. Then there was a wash of Norn oil, and then Dawnstone to bring it back again, and then I think it was Administratum Grey or something, just to really get those edges to pop out. And it was as simple as that. Just a really enjoyable way to get these larger figures painted and ready for the tabletop. As I mentioned before, I've still got to do the basing on them, but I'll probably do that when I've got all. I'm having 9 trolls now. Initially I was going to have 12, but I've worked out some figures that I had that I can just, rather than buying more, I'm just going to use those instead. I hope you found this useful, and anybody who's thinking of doing these figures for their own army, Age of Sigmar army, then, as I say, I hope that you can see that there's no dark art to it, and it's just a case of just applying the paint in the various locations, and it's the wash and the highlight that that basically make this a really nice looking okay, you know, tabletop standard figure. Anyway guys, thanks for watching.